Thanks for joining us again on another exciting episode of Successful Business Lounge, where we talk business without the jargons, where we also tell you about a lot of people who have experiences in the business world and for you to also gain information and insights on these experiences. Today I have a very profound person who we want to talk to and who will tell us a lot about his experience. He's someone who has transitioned from the civil service to being an entrepreneur. And he's none other than Engineer Peter Ewesor, who is a fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's also a fellow of the Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria and a fellow of the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Sir, it's great to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so you have a plethora of of background and a lot of, you've gotten a lot of professional acumen and all that. Can you give us a brief history about yourself, how you started and where you are now?
Well, I think, let me just give a short background of my career. I'm an electrical engineer registered by COREN, and you have already mentioned fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers. I'm a fellow of Institute of Safety Professionals of Nigeria. I'm equally a fellow of Occupational Safety and Health Administration. I'm a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Power Engineers. I'm a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. I can go on and on and on, but I think that's just part of the life. And I work in the Federal Ministry of Power between 1981 to 2013, and I rose to the rank of Deputy Director and Head of Electrical Inspectorate Services Division of the Department of Inspectorate Services. And I have worked in various parts of the country. I worked in Lagos, I worked in Ibadan. I was the person who established the Electrical Inspectorate Services Field Office in Sokoto in 1983. Wow. And the first area inspecting engineer of that inspectorate. I was equally the one who was sent to establish the first office of the ministry, Electrical Services Field Office in Benin, covering the South-South in 1985. And
you have quite a feat when it comes to, working for the government and the impacts that you've made, especially in the electrical sector. Now, I want to ask, you spent many years in public service, rising to the top to be the head of the, Head Electrical Inspectorate Services Division in the Federal Ministry of Power, and then later, as you said, you became the Pioneer Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, and the Pioneer Chief Electrical Inspector of the Federation. Now, was there a particular moment or experience that made you say, it is time to leave government and build my own?
Yeah, I think that question to me is multidimensional in the sense that at the beginning of my career, I loved my job, being an electrical inspector, and I felt I should be able to contribute to making Nigeria a safe place in terms of power system, in terms of using electricity, because we take electricity for the ride. It doesn't matter. But honestly, those who have experienced electricity challenges never remain behind to actually tell the story, because it is a complete disaster and it's something that we would not want to happen. And because I was enjoying the job of trying to make sure that I put people in a very safe balance, in a very safe pedestrian, I took interest in the job. But as the job goes on too, I think there was a time at the early stage of my career when I actually felt that I needed to see if I could look at what people are doing outside and then let me see if I could transit. I tried to make an effort. I tried by trying to see, let me see if I could partner with somebody and then see how it looks like. But incidentally, this was at the earlier of my career when I was still about 5 years in service. But the experience really was very sour. And in the sense that's why when I look who go into partnership, I pity them because partnership is very dangerous. And if you are not very careful, there are so many consequences. So,
is it dangerous, like generally, or because of the person you went into partnership with?
I think personally, partnership, the way I see it, I think it's dangerous generally. I'll tell you why. Because there is no perfect situation outside God who is perfect. So when issues of envy, jealousy, whatever start coming into any business, no matter what arrangement, no matter what rules you put in ground to check that you are fair to each other, you will definitely fall out. And I have so many stories about that. There are people I have who are like twins. They had an agreement. If I marry you, I marry. It was as low as that. In fact, they started, this one bought a bike, this one bought a motorbike, a car. But at the end of the day, I can tell you that it was a sour thing. But be that as it may, there are some exceptions who will have succeeded. To give change in Nigeria is quite very difficult. People took it, and then people actually started agreeing and looking at what we want to do. Especially when I'm able to convince you why you need to stay alive by using safe electricity.
Safety measures, yes.
And there are so many other things. So it was quite, at the beginning, it was a little bit rough in terms of, people are used to doing certain things, and when they get gum to it, it's difficult for you to pull them out of that space. But after a period of about 5-6 years, everybody believed in what I was saying because they were saying it. Not only that they are safe now, they find out that the installation they are using lasts longer. And so it now became a scenario where you then have that people now say, oh, I think what this man had brought is good. In fact, a lot of contractors bought their equipment. That is what never happened before. They wait for either the ministry inspectorate to come and test and inspect. After a certificate, NEPA then too will come and test. But this one is that they now imbibe the idea based on what I've actually advised. It's good to have your equipment. Check yourself before you come to us. So when we come, the job is easier for me. It's easier for you. So with that, a period of time, you start losing interest. Why do I build something that's not to work? But when we came in as an inspectorate, especially the team I lead, we were able to actually help them find out what were those problems they were having. For example, somebody will install a transformer, maybe about 500 kVA. The person will use a smaller cable just because of what they believe they are actually having today. But as they now increase their power requirement, nobody goes back to remember that the cable I used before was not to utilize the full power. So we get disgusted. But when we came, actually building. And the story is that once I've explained to a particular entrepreneur, a factory, an industrial places, they equally pass the message.
So it was something that was like, it created a chain reaction.
Yes.
People were now, they were replicating the information, making sure that those systems and structures were followed correctly, which made them had better implants and power supply. So the question is, when did you know it was time for you to leave? And because from what you said, you loved your job, you were making impact, you saw that, okay, yes, you were contributing to people, not only in the in government sectors, but individually. So what brought about that decision to change?
That what I started that there was really no time that I saw it was time to go, because I got engulfed in changing the space of power sector where I work, and within the limit of my scope of work, we did a lot by bringing a lot of changes. But the time is 2 times a civil servant have to check out. One, you are dissatisfied and you feel you could do something better for yourself, or
when you have finished your
But for me, I told you at the first opportunity, but I jettisoned. And the second opportunity will have been 2016, but in 2013, the course changed when I was appointed Chief Executive Officer of NEMSA.
Okay.
and then in the pioneer CIF, Chief Economic Inspector of the Federation.
Wow.
And so I had to wait until my tenure
Finished.
ended. And the tenure came to an end in 2021. That was now became the time that actually I felt it was time to actually do something else.
Wow. So now, when you finally made that move, how was the transition? Was it harder, or was it easier than you expected? How was it transitioning from public servant to an entrepreneur?
Yeah, they were both easy, difficult. But the easy aspect of it was that I came out of service in 2021. I had good friends,
Okay.
and who are actually captains of industry, who actually have been in the industry, were entrepreneurs for a long time. And so when I show my fear, they say, no, it's not that bad. And so the starting and the setting up was by the support of my friends, good friends. I think it became something that actually started on a good footnote that as well, easier. Because like Success Story, for example, actually has a lot of Dr. Sibo Gidas, my very close friend, even in NEMSA. Even the fear I had there to at that NEMSA, he raised it, but actually was one who actually did what we can call setting up retreat meetings to kickstart the organization. So you can see, I started learning while I was there, looking at it. So when I came out, the first area of mandatory requirements, setting up the office. In fact, where we are doing the interview today actually was my first office. so when I left, so you can understand. So it was that easy.
That actually was going to lead me to my next questions. That in your early days as an entrepreneur, it's good to hear that you had the support of your friends who were not just friends, but they were professionals in their various fields that helped you to set up and be established. But in your early days, what were the challenges, or what were the toughest challenges you faced? Was it regulation? Was it funding? Was it building trust? Or what is it? What was the F to Z that you faced that was different from what you knew?
The F to Z is always that. I only want to say they are multidimensional. Funding. In fact, funding and regulations are the bane of any entrepreneur. And I can tell you why. Funding is not easy to come by. And those who have actually gone into seeking, for example, support of the bank, pick loan, because, for example, I came out and I was doing a job, I didn't have money, and I needed a loan. And when I was told, then it was about 18-19%. Then I tried to calculate what is likely to be my profit, and then for how long will people support me, and so what do I then do? So it became a very shocking thing.
Wow.
But to me, I try not to pretend. I open up to my friends and say, no, please don't take that. That's one aspect. The second aspect is just that the regulations are not, they're not open. It's like somebody going to a river. You see the river very clear. Some river, you will see, it's like you are saying
the river bank is quite shallow and close, you could see. Well, it's when you step in, you know that, it's very deep.
So you start going at a stage. I was asking myself, do I even drop it instead of facing all this? Because the reason is that I find the more you are going deeper, and the water will swallow you. So I said, okay, what do I do? So, and that was why till tomorrow, I have remained to just do my business only as a consultant who use my intellectual property to deliver services, not to go into what I know, where a businessman has been given a job either by a company or by a government organization. You finish your job, you deliver your job, and then payments stay forever. And at most cases,
Nigeria is dealing with a lot of economic issues. You have rising costs. For example, we have the fuel issue, electricity, raw materials, logistics. As an entrepreneur operating in this environment, how would you say one can stay afloat and still remain profitable?
Yeah, it's a very big question, and I think in this country, anybody who wants to go into any business, any entrepreneur, should first of all sit down first and do what I can call a proper feasibility study, where you look at all the ingredients that you need, all the inputs that you need, and what the actual result is likely to be. You can, as much as possible, try to see what will be your profit after all your expenditure and all you have ever done. When you've done that, and then you're able to put the cost of fuel, the cost of staff, the cost of machinery, those who are into production, the cost of traveling, the cost of, because even traveling to now is no longer something that you can think about. For example, I go to the airport on last week, Wednesday. Suddenly my ticket is changed, and as much as possible I need to buy a ticket. 40-minute ticket, 175,000 naira. And to me, those are kind of things. Sometimes you find your flight ticket is going to about, if I December or 350, so return ticket. So for me, for you to stay afloat, you need to choose your business well. The business must be something you understand. Then you need to choose professionals that you will use. And I can make it very clear and bold. Those who avoid paying professional consultants end up losing out in their businesses, because they will have been ill-advised by quacks. They will have been ill-advised by those who don't even understand even the business terrain. For example, somebody now want to build a power plant. Somebody will tell, oh, don't worry, okay, solar or renewable is what is raining now. And the person didn't look at what business you want to do, because somebody is going to go into production facility. You don't start that person by talking about renewable energy solar, because he needs big power, and big power can only come from the national grid. So if the person then listen, they build for you a solar system. No matter what definition they give to it, no matter anybody tells you about solar, whatever it is, it's not a power that any entrepreneur would depend on as primary source. Otherwise, he's going to fail, his business is going to collapse, because it has not been properly planned. Your solar can do your lighting, can do your small cooling, AC, but when you now come...
Now, talking about what people, entrepreneurs, knowing their onions, what will be your advice to them? Like, if you have an entrepreneur that wants to start off on a business that they know, what will be the advice to them on what to cut, as in what they should focus on more? Like, what should like cutting cost? What do you think they need to like downsize for them to be able to start and then build up? Is it like cutting cost? Is it like starting small? What would be your advice?
You see, I like to be very practical. Even in our homes, cutting costs had to be, how do I call it? It's opportunity, I forgot.
Opportunity cost.
Whatever it is. You need to weigh what are the opportunities. Because you can go and cut costs in area you shouldn't cut costs. So that's why I say you need a person who is a professional. When I say professional, not just people carry portfolio jackets and tell you your relations, your friends. Somebody who will look at your face and give you the true position of what you really need to do. Like I said, you cannot really want to say you are cutting costs. You've taken a loan at 30%. You get to my point?
Yes.
So your cutting cost now depends on what you want to do. You need power.
Yeah.
You need other energy like diesel.
Source, yeah.
Then you need other resources if you're into manufacturing, raw materials and what have you. So where are you going to cut the cost? So all that I can tell any person is this one, is that genuinely start your business at a level of the resources that you have, that you can then grow. Most businesses worldwide that I know have succeeded, many are businesses that didn't just start at the top. They started while you are growing. Then you can then perceive where are the areas of waste, where are the areas you can cut, What? Because if you take a loan, if you are not returning your money,
Yeah.
are you getting my point?
The interest will be.
And I tell somebody too, taking a loan, there is a long time investment you repay back, then you are in trouble. So you need to then be able to properly structure that your business in line with the terms and tenor of the loan.
So now, what were the mistakes that you made when you started business? Because, like you said earlier, that what you thought was ABC didn't end up stopping at ABC. It went further to Z. So what were those mistakes that you made, and how were you able to surmount them?
Well, I'm trying to look at what I can call mistake.
Okay.
Because like I said, I'm somebody who's very cautious and careful. And there are even sometimes something I think my family will say that you don't need to ask anybody, but I do. Because I'm somebody who try out all
possible outcomes,
approaches before I take a decision. Okay. What I'll probably say maybe a regret during my last year, I later find out really it wasn't a regret. I tell you when I was starting, a lot of my friends say, you shouldn't have taken this type of office. You're just starting. It's not as if you actually have some big money, whatever it is. Because I took an office at Abia House, okay. And it's in the central area, the cost, we were looking at it. But I felt too that I need to have a place where people will come to me and say, this guy means business. This guy is
serious, or is up to task.
Yes, up to task. It's in fact a comfortable place. So, but things were going on. The early stage, 22, 23, we had something to do, and then the little fund came, and then I made the better use of it.
Wow, that's nice. One aspect I wanted to talk about is when we are talking about regulation of the systems. What advice would you think government should do? What advice would you give government regards the payment of contractors? I want us to go a bit back because you mentioned something about that. What advice would you give them? Because that has really been an issue.
Painful issue.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I will start by saying that government had the best policies. Actually, I joined the top management from 2002. When I say top management, heading a zone at the headquarters, controlling the fields. Yeah. And when I came to the headquarters, the first thing that I saw was that I find people's file who did contract since 1999, beginning of that President Obasanjo's administration, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, were not paid. And I saw some of those projects have been completed. Some of those projects at advanced completion stages. These contractors have collected loans. Loans they collected, there is no interest on the money government has not paid them, but there is interest on the loan they've collected from the bank. These guys were in precarious situation. All I did was, to the little capacity I have, I try to help those I can help. And I think government made policies where implementations has always been the challenge. And most times, I normally say clearly, we should just not always be saying government. Policy by government are right. The implementation are where we have the fault. And those who implement them are those who are really very, very guilty. In the sense that government has said, if you don't have money, don't award contract. And if somebody had done his job, pay him. At a stage, government came and said they have cash plan to say any contractor who had done job, please submit his payment, let us pay. But I find out that those who are executing, who are implementing, are those who manipulate and play the game. And throughout my time while I was in the ministry, my division, projects that I know what my department will make sure that when they are awarded, actually get paid. I'll say something to you. When I was living in 2021, I was living in Engr, I put in my hand in my stewardship, I was in no single contractor while I was leaving office, because it is a rule by government under the Procurement Act, never award a contract when you do not have resources, when you do not have budget. So why then do people go? And I equally want to tell the contractors too, I mean the businessmen, they need to be cautious. Those ones really is regulation are always right, is implementation and the enforcement of those regulations. That's
an issue. Okay, lastly, sir, what legacy do you hope to leave behind? Because you said you're the pioneer in a lot of areas, especially in the electrical sector. What legacy would you want people to remember you for?
Well, my legacy, I will only tie it to the power sector. And my entrepreneurship, I'm still developing. But in entrepreneurship environment space, all I will tell people is that if you are going into any business, be sure of what you want to do, and be sure that you have actually done a thorough analysis of what you want to do, people you want to do business with, so that sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs have actually collapsed simply because they did do business with the wrong partner, business with the wrong organization, and their money is lost. But my legacy, which is actually known in the industry, very clear, is that I stood for the truth throughout my career, and I tried to change the face of the power industry in terms of electrical safety, in terms of ensuring that electrical materials and equipment and the installation build are of the right standard, the right quality, and that they will endure. And like I told you, I champion with the support of my bosses, the minister and the PAMSEC, to have our act to ensure that the agency will not just push it aside. And I went as far as changing the sector.
I must say this conversation is very, very exciting, and I'm sure we are going to do this again, but we have to stop now because of our time. So we want to thank you for making the time to come and have these conversations with us. There's so much we can take on Success Free Business Lounge. Till I come your way again, you have a great time.